All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about a tool that honestly feels like it's from 5 years in the future. It's Vercel's AI platform for building UI, and it's called v0.dev. We're going to break down what it is and how it's about to completely shake up how we build things. But first, let me ask you something, especially if you're a developer. Just be honest with yourself. Think about your last project. How many hours, how many days did you sink into writing the same old boilerplate UI code? The boring stuff. Because for so many of us, this is the part where a project just slows to a crawl. You get that beautiful mock-up from the designer, and you know that turning it into real, functional code is going to be the biggest grind of the entire project. So yeah, let's talk about that bottleneck. Because we're not just talking about tweaking some CSS. The real challenges in building modern UIs run way deeper, and they are incredibly time-consuming. I mean, think about it. You're not just coding a layout. You have to make sure it looks perfect on a tiny phone and on a giant 4K monitor. Then you've got to make sure it meets all the accessibility standards so that everyone can actually use it. These things are absolutely crucial, but man, do they eat up the clock. And this is exactly the problem that this new wave of AI tools is designed to just crush. So let's formally meet v0.dev. It's a seriously powerful solution that's taking aim at this bottleneck. So what is this thing? Well, simply put, v0.dev is an AI platform from Vercel. Yep, the same people behind Next.js, so you know the quality's there. It builds functional UI components just from you describing what you want, in plain English. You type, it codes. It's kind of wild. And the actual workflow is just ridiculously simple. First, you just describe the component you're picturing in your head. Then, the AI takes over, thinks for a second, and generates all the code. From there, you just grab it, tweak it if you want, and drop it straight into your project. Done. And let's get into the tech stack, because this is super important. This isn't some black box spitting out weird random code. It's built on a stack that you probably already use and love. React, Tailwind CSS, and ShadCN/UI for the base elements. And maybe the best part? Everything it generates is responsive right out of the box. Okay, all of that sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice? Let's check out a real-world example to see just how ridiculously fast you can go from a simple idea to a working prototype. Check this out. This is the actual prompt someone fed into v0. Notice how detailed it is. It's not just make a dashboard. It's laying out the features, the purpose, what kind of notifications it needs. This is basically a mini project brief you'd give to a real developer. So what happened next? Well, this is the crazy part. From that one block of text, v0 didn't just spit out a button or form. It generated a complete, functional front end for an entire web app. A working dashboard just appeared. So the big question, how long did this all take? From writing the prompts to generating the app, making a few tweaks, and getting it deployed, the grand total was 15 minutes. Just let that sink in for a second. 15 minutes. Now, to put that in perspective, a pretty skilled developer estimated that to build the exact same thing by hand from scratch would take a full day, at least. So we're talking about going from 8 hours of work to less time than it takes to drink a coffee. That is a massive shift. But okay, let's be real. No tool is magic. To use something this powerful effectively, you have to be smart about it. You need to know its limits, where it shines, and where you, the human, still need to step in. Here's the best way to look at it. v0 is an incredible copilot. It is fantastic for rapid prototyping and building standard UI components in a flash. But the moment you need complex state management, or you need to hook into a backend API, or you have some really unique pixel-perfect branding, that's where the developer's brain is still 100% essential. And there are a few other practical things to just keep in mind, right? You can't preview how it will connect to your backend. There's no direct GitHub integration, at least not yet. And the code it writes, while pretty clean, is always going to need a human review. Think of it like a super talented junior dev. It gets you 90% of the way there really, really fast. So when you add all this up, what does a tool like this actually mean for how we work? This is bigger than just saving a few hours. This is about fundamentally changing our approach to building software. The efficiency gains are just huge. Some estimates say that for projects with a lot of interface work, v0 can cut your development time by 30, even up to 50%. And that's time you get back to focus on the hard stuff, right? the complex problems, the system architecture, the stuff that really requires deep thought. And that brings us to the big, looming question. I think this quote here just nails the answer. V0 isn't about replacing developers. It's about enhancing what we do. It automates the tedious stuff, and that lets the developer level up from being just a coder to being more of an architect and a problem solver. But let's just ask the question directly, because we know it's what everyone's thinking when they see something this powerful. Is this the beginning of the end for UI developers? And the consensus seems to be a very clear no. The best way to see a tool like v0 is right here in this quote. It's a powerful complement to human creativity, not a replacement for it. The AI is great at patterns and boilerplate, but the creativity, the strategic thinking, the deep understanding of a user's needs, that stuff is still uniquely human, and it's actually more valuable than ever. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Now that you've seen what's possible, the real question isn't if AI tools are going to be part of our jobs. They're here. The question is, how are you going to use them? How will you leverage this new power to build something better, faster, and more creative on your very next project?